Today, we're diving into a text you think you know, the Kama Sutra. But we're going to explore how it's so much more than a sex manual. In fact, it's a profound guide to the art of living.
To really get what the Kama Sutra is all about, we've got to look past centuries of myths. It's really not what most of us think it is. It's something much deeper, an ancient guide to life.
So let me just throw this out there. What if the world's most famous book about sex isn't really about sex at all? At least, not in the way we've all been led to believe.
Well, the answer to that question really lies in its origins. This was never some casual how-to guide. It was a serious philosophical work, deeply rooted in its time and place. Okay, so picture this. We're in North India sometime between the 3rd and 5th century, during what's known as the Gupta Golden Age. This was an incredible period of flourishing art, poetry, and deep philosophy. And the author Vatsyayana, he was a religious student, a philosopher, not a sex guru. He was part of a huge intellectual movement called the Age of the Sutra, where scholars were creating these definitive studies on every aspect of human life.
And that word, sutra, right in the title, it's a massive clue. In Sanskrit, it means thread. It's used to describe a scholarly treatise, a collection of philosophical ideas, kind of like the famous Yoga Sutra. The name itself is telling us, hey, this is serious thinking, meant to weave together different threads of wisdom.
And this wisdom, it reached way, way beyond the bedroom. It was all about putting desire into a much larger framework for how to live a truly meaningful life.
So, in Hindu philosophy, you have these 3 fundamental goals in life. First, there's Dharma. That's your moral duty, living a righteous life. Then there's Artha, which is about material prosperity and finding your purpose in the world. And the third one is Kama, the pursuit of sensual and aesthetic pleasure.
And that is the real point of the Kama Sutra. It's a guide to mastering Kama, sure, but not in a vacuum. The whole idea is to achieve it in balance, in harmony, with a life of purpose and ethics.
Okay, get ready for a fact that pretty much shatters the modern myth. You know all those acrobatic positions everyone talks about? They make up only about 20% of the entire text. The other 80% is dedicated to the art of living well. So let's just be crystal clear. The myth? An acrobatic sex manual. The reality? It's a guide to finding a partner, nurturing a relationship, and understanding the deep philosophy of love and desire. This brings us to the text's deeper teachings, the real art of connection, which is just full of symbolism and wisdom. And here's something you might not know. The original Kama Sutra had 0 illustrations, none at all. It was pure text, designed to spark your imagination, to create the images in your own mind. See, Kama was understood as a total aesthetic experience. It was about engaging all the senses, hearing, touch, sight, taste, and smell, and all of it guided by the mind and the heart. It's about presence, not performance. And wrapped up in this philosophy is some really modern-sounding relationship advice. The first pillar is communication. I mean, listen to this. The text talks about willingly agreeing to be sexually active and participative with someone. This emphasis on clear, willing agreement is a cornerstone of the text. It highlights a respect for personal choice that feels incredibly current. And that leads right into the next pillar, mutual respect. Now, this was a truly revolutionary idea for its time. The text emphasized that both partners should pleasure each other. It recognized a woman's desire and agency as being just as important as a man's. So, you might be asking yourself, if the text was so sophisticated, how did it become this taboo sex manual? Well, the answer lies in its long journey through translation and cultural misunderstanding. In ancient India, it was a respected guide to life. But then, in 1883, Sir Richard Burton created the first English translation. The thing is, he was translating it for the Victorian era, a famously repressive culture. So the whole text got filtered through that lens. The sexual aspects were sensationalized, and the myth we know today was born. So, after clearing away all that historical fog, what is the single most important thing to take away from all this?
It's this. The Kama Sutra doesn't teach how to master sexual positions. It teaches how to integrate pleasure, kama, into a complete and meaningful life, skillfully and with grace.
Let's just close with one final thought on why this ancient text still matters so much today.
When you strip away all the layers of myth,
The Kama Sutra is a profound and timeless reminder that desire isn't something to be ignored or to be ashamed of. Instead, when it's pursued with awareness, with respect, and with grace, it becomes a vital, beautiful part of our shared human experience.